the judiciary ranker, Senator Boyle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, a quick comment, then a question. I guess one of the things I think there's been an analogy made with the New Jersey law. I do not believe the New Jersey law gives a percentage, right? It doesn't mention 3% or 4%. So that's a huge difference I would make. And also the fact that I'd associate myself, I guess, with Mr. Gutman's remarks about going to a free market system. What we have here on Long Island, for those upstate may not have heard of it, is transit-oriented development, TOD. And it has worked remarkably well. It's basically the idea of putting housing units, apartments near train stations along the Long Island Railroad and in communities like Rockville Center in Nassau County, out here in Suffolk County where I live, in communities like Patchogue and Bayshore where I live. It has been a boom in the number of apartments that have made. In my community of Bayshore, for example, we have hundreds and hundreds of new apartments that have come online and many more hundreds being built now, and the rents are coming down. Simple free market. You got more of a choice, and these landlords cannot get high rents. They're coming down with each new unit that's put on. There's buying power with the tenants. I'd just like any of the panelists to comment on that if possible. Something like that in New York City, I believe, obviously, the more units we get, the lower the rents are going to come purely by free market. We can't have abuses, but we also need to rely on some free market principles here.
Any panelists wish to respond to Senator Boyle?
Yeah, I agree. But what this will happen is that a lot of the small owners will actually have to sell, and they will end up selling either the developers or the big landlords. The concentration of the landlords will actually make the landlords to have an even greater pricing power, and will actually make the tenants in an even worse situation than before in terms of pricing. Also, that is to a separate question to the senator earlier. What happened actually with this law would also happen is the good behaving tenants will have to move more frequently. That is actually to respond to the question earlier about his daughter being a student, having roommates with others. The bad behaving or the nuisance tenants will end up forcing the good tenants to move, and they will move more frequently than they currently are. And to Senator Rivera, if this law were to prevent retaliatory eviction, then make the law to prohibit retaliatory eviction rather than calling it a good cause eviction and limiting to these several causes. And to Senator Hoyman's question about what other causes we may actually want to put in the good cause eviction, we can actually consider the two additional conditions Mr. McGee mentioned in his city. Those would actually be relevant. And out of the two, I would say that the more frequent cause is that a new buyer actually want to have a vacant building altogether. That is actually the most frequent concern in New York. And in my experience in other states, that actually does not happen often, but it is only in New York because landlords actually distrust the old landlords' payroll. They don't actually think that the distrust between tenants and landlord actually in this state is greater than other states.
Thank you, Mr. Ho. Thank you for responding to the series of questions that senators had.